everyone in the community. So thank you so much.
Man, thank you for a great intro, Eddie. Clap it up for Eddie, y'all. Clap it up for Eddie. This technology thing, man, it's not cut out for the weak. So what's up, everybody? How's y'all energy? Man, that was moderate at best. How's y'all energy? You got me excited. This is who I am. Let's go back. All right, so over the course of the next 30 minutes or so, it is my intention to be able to give y'all some fire tools to be able to regulate yourself, take care of your emotions, as yes, I love taking care of healthcare professionals, but my brand is providing for the provider. So if you're an educator, I'm talking to you. If you're a small business owner, I'm talking to you. If you're a parent, I'm talking to you. If you're an athlete in some ways, I'm talking to you. Well, like I said, healthcare professionals in particular, I'm talking to you. Sound good? Sound good? This is an interactive experience. All right, here we go. Beautiful. Who am I? So I just got these lovely headshots done, which makes me happy. My homegirl Rachel Castillo took care of me in that capacity. I love the question, who am I? I think a lot of people, I'll speak from my experience, can over-identify and get lost in their identity, but I think that there's a lot of charge emotionally that you can grab, tap into, get some spirit fuel as well too, when times are rough. And it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. As I got my abuela in the middle, who passed about 2 years ago. I got my grandpa at this bottom left slide as well too, who passed a few weeks back, my first week of practice. So I'm walking with that charge and that love and that energy. My beautiful family's in the top right corner. That was the first time we all got together for Christmas in 7 years after there were some things that split us. And as you can see, I'm holding my 1-year-old son, Kage. In the middle and to the right, so I'm a part of a professional chiropractic fraternity called Delta Sigma Chi, or Doctors of Straight Chiropractic. I served as the president at my chapter when I was in grad school for some time, and this was our most recent men's retreat, which was about 90 men that trained over the course of 3 months, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, and prepping our minds to then dive deep in men's work, a part of the retreat. So shout out to Coach Taylor, so glad my brother's here. More on him later. And in the middle, so I do teach internationally, so those are mis boricuas at my University of Chiropractic. Spanish speakers, yay, nay, where you at, ¿Dónde está? Yeah, aquí. So a big part of what I do, docere in Latin, that's where doctor comes from. Docere means teacher. So if your doctor, your healthcare professional isn't teaching you, or if they're not teaching themselves in other ways, ask good questions, feel me? Give me a if you're with me. Ooh, it ain't that acai bowl neither that you're just saying to. All right, here we go. Come on, work for me. Warning. Tuning in these next 30 minutes can change your life. Strap in, here we go. All right, so the problem as entrepreneurs, our mics aren't fitting our faces. There we go. The problem as entrepreneurs is that they're building, yes, but they're also breaking down. So what I love to teach on is the nervous system. I'm gonna get through these first few slides pretty quickly, but one thing that I wanted to put up on here is, what if the cost of your dream wasn't just burnout? What if the cost of your dream wasn't you just staying late up at night, losing and exchanging relationships, not being able to be as present with your kids, having lower energy, so that way by the time you even get to your home, your fuzzy kid or your furry friends at home, they're receiving you in a depleted state. Anyone read the book, The Alchemist? Give me some hands. All right, nice. What I like to teach my people, which stems from The Alchemist, is that, you gotta chase and go on your own personal legend. It requires an endeavor. I think it's one of the most boldest things that someone can do, to endeavor to be a small business owner or to be a parent or to be an educator, because as a provider, peep game, you're responsible for other people's well-being and helping them get their needs met, yes? So therefore, I always use the example, peep the sun. We feel it a lot in Tucson. And with that being said, if the sun were to go out, poof, we're all gonna die. And what I offer to my people is that you are the sun relative to your relations, and there are planets or there are people that are responsible, or that you're responsible for their well-being, where your energetic state will directly impact your relationship with them. Therefore, I like to help my people with my care of chiropractic to make sure that they're in an energetic rich state or a parasympathetic state, so that you can show up and guess what? Enjoy life how you want to. Crazy concept, I know. But a lot of these reasons, or a lot of people experience as entrepreneurs, we often ignore stress until it's too late. That's typically when I find my people, because they can't move. They're in splitting headaches or migraines, or they're just so depleted that they don't even know what to do. So that's why chiropractic is often an option at the end of this journey versus the beginning and all along the way. It's like I compare it to dentistry. It's like you got a rotted tooth, not even a cavity. Like that tooth is gone. And now you got to have a whole tooth extraction versus what if you just flossed all along the way? what I like to offer my people is that you can energetically floss your nervous system so that way you stay energetically rich and ahead of time. Not to say that life ain't gonna happen, because it's not a matter of once more, not if, but when. But when it happens, how aware are you of your patterns? And I'm gonna go deeper into that. This making sense? Yep. All right, sweet. Behold, the nervous system. This was the first thing that was created when we were a fetus, way back in the day. Therefore, I think it's pretty important to pay attention to. Just what I think, humbly. Maybe you think otherwise, it's all good. But when it comes to nervous system adaptability, the health of your nervous system is directly correlated with the health of your body. The brain and spinal cord, in case you don't know what I'm saying, nervous system, brain, spinal cord. Everything stems from there. And keep in mind, these beautiful beings that are in front of me, yourself included, of course, 50 to trillion cells on average. 50 to 70 trillion. You know how many zeros that is? Go on, someone shout it out. Amen. But here's the cool thing. Our conscious mind, what you're engaging me with, it's not responsible to be like, oh, if I perform mitosis at this time with this cell, then it'll split, and then I'll do that again. We're not needing to think about this. Nice, don't choke on your food. But when it comes to that, what I like to offer my people, it's like you're not responsible for the 50 to 80,000 plus beats your heart beats every day. People forget to drink water. So people forget to set their alarm. So if we were tasked with the grandeur of needing to regulate our bodily functions, I don't think that we would make it. So instead, what I'm recognizing as a chiropractor with a philosophical study and inspiration, I have a grand view of the body and how beautiful it is and how magnetic it is. And we're in the Andrew Weil Center. And a part of, I've seen these beautiful speakers like holistic veterinarian. First session I went to, and I was just like, oh, this is so good. But what it's beautiful is that there's this opportunity right now, as there are old paradigms that are dying. And by that, I simply acknowledge that health, and what I submit, health isn't just simply the absence of disease or symptoms, but it's your intellectual ability to adapt. Health isn't the absence of symptoms, but instead the intellectual ability to adapt. I work with a lot of men when it comes to men's health and men's work, and a lot of men have heart attacks. You can be experiencing stage 4 cancer and not even know it. There's no symptoms, you don't feel it. So just because you might not feel or be aware of something doesn't mean that it's directly impacting your health, yeah? I'm just making sure I'm making sense. All right, so I'm gonna keep going because there's so much to go into. So understanding the nervous system, take some good notes. It might be a little bit tiny, but just know that there's 3 different states. Come on, baby, don't fail me now. Bow, and I'm just gonna get them all on the board. So up top, ventrovagal. Another AKA for that is the parasympathetic space. That's where we're supposed to be 80 to 90% of the time. However, due to life and the demands and the stressors, we are in the sympathetic or the fight or flight. Y'all heard of fight or flight before? Give me a head nod if you're with me. All right, so I said this is interactive now. You can smile. Don't be afraid to smile, y'all. And if I say something that resonates, you can give a little snap or make some noise. Life happens here, yeah? All right, back to y'all. Nice. So with the sympathetic, vast majority of people that I find, they're here. Fight or flight, and keep in mind, this was a biological response from the brain because saber-toothed tigers and more were gonna eat us about 50,000 years ago plus. Now, fortunately, unfortunately, that saber-toothed tiger, it's your familial relationships. It's the bigness and the grandeur of starting a business. Maybe, keeping a TenWest fest, going. It could be your parents. It could be whatever stressor. Y'all with me? Take COVID, for example. Why I started a lot of this work was because I saw a lot of healthcare professionals that were burnt out to a crisp. They were burnt out before COVID. And then COVID amplified and it shined a light on how sick the healthcare professionals are. How they're teetering on the brink of sickness and health all the time. Reaching for that Monster. Reaching for that 4th or 5th coffee. Not able to pee during the day. Like basic biological needs not getting met. And I imagine what I've found studying this work over the last few years, parents, small business owners, there's a direct correlation, and a lot of y'all wear multiple hats. You're responsible for someone that you gotta feed, but then you gotta bring life and create these days where you can process and grow your business, but maybe you're your only employee as well too, so you gotta be in the business, and that's just parenting and small business owners. Y'all with me? Dorsal vagal shutdown. What does that mean? Y'all heard fight, flight, but then there's also freeze. Technically there's fawn too, but I'm just gonna focus on the first 3. Freeze is like immobilization. I studied Peter Levine's work, which is a lot of trauma. Everyone's saying trauma this, trauma that, trauma this, trauma that. What I want to reflect to you is the freeze response is when that zebra is clutched in the lion's jaw and it feigns death or it just shuts down. In humans, we have this beautiful mind which differentiates us as animals, but that's where disassociation happens. And if you don't know what that is, that's when the mind exits the body because of probably something very intense. You might see this in chronic abuse. You might see this in, very intense emotional situations as well too. But just know, and what I want y'all to take away from this slide is that we're a human animal. But the difference between us and, say, like a gazelle that's just munching on some good old grass, and then it hears something, it's like, and then it goes back down and it goes eats, it can come back to a parasympathetic space. As humans, we're equipped with the mind so we can ruminate. We can think about that conversation we had with our partner at the beginning of the day and still get pissed in the moment, even though it happened at 8 a.m. this morning. Or you can think about your parent, or you can think, I see some minds going, so y'all can think about, isn't that fascinating? I can't go past that. We can be here right now, but you can close your eyes and you can go back to a time that was really hard. You can also close your eyes and you go back to a time that was really nice. And there will be biochemical changes in your body right now. Isn't that fascinating? Your brain didn't go anywhere, but what did? Your mind. Keep in mind, your brain and your mind are two different things. Your mind is how you think. It's the unconscious emotions that you feel. It's your behaviors, it's your habits, it's your actions. And keep in mind, it's responsible for 90 to 99% of those things. How we think, feel, perceive the world, it's all non-conscious or unconscious. And what I mean by that is that your conscious mind doesn't need to think about it. It's the same material that's keeping, or the mechanisms that are keeping our hearts beating at an appropriate state based upon our perception. But when you're in a stress state, your perception of the world is going to be a lot more violent, sympathetic, and protective versus if you're chilling at home. You can experience the same stimulus. Your partner coming home and saying, hey, babe, and that might piss you off for some reason, you know what I mean? Because you're like, why say hey like that? Versus you're in a better state, hey, babe, hi, honey, it's good to see you. So what I want to offer to you is what differentiates say someone comes in that door, I might get excited, someone might be afraid. Same stimulus, two different completely reactions. That then can lead into chronic dysregulation, meaning the energy of the body isn't matching the appropriate stimulus. Stay with me. Does it make sense? Yeah. All right, I'm excited. Stay on time. All right, a framework you can use today. Ooh, this is good. Oh, this is good. All right, so I came up with this, y'all. I'll go back. I'm not a PowerPoint guy, but it's not about me, it's about y'all, you know what I'm saying? All right, so a framework you can utilize today, you can take a picture once this is, I got a lot more bullet points that are gonna come up, but you can utilize this in the morning, or you can utilize this midday, you can utilize this in reflection, because keep in mind, we have a prefrontal cortex. Anyone heard of prefrontal cortex before? Bingo, right there, yes ma'am. It's what makes us human. It's also what gives us metacognitive abilities, meaning I can think that I think. I love the quote, I think, therefore I am. And why is that important? Why is that relevant? Because we can utilize this ability to step out of the emotions, to step out of the environment or the circumstances that we're in to now better and more appropriately respond. So it's like the same boiling water that boils the egg softens a potato. I'm not saying y'all potatoes are eggs, but you can be if you want, because potatoes and eggs are great, you know what I mean? But what's important is to reflect. As a part of my care, and one of the biggest things, I like to give my people mental frameworks. A few of my practice members are here, shout out to y'all, is that yes, I am a chiropractor and I love applying mental frameworks because keep in mind, all this helped me survive. Discovering these, I probably read like 150 books over the last 7 to 8 years on health, on the mind, on energy, on spirituality, all these different things because I didn't have another option. Because I was chronically depressed and anxious and burnt out and heartbroken and life was really hard. And I could feel it in my body. And it wasn't until I met my mentor, Dr. Brett, who really helped open me up to more of what's possible. And now I just can't get enough of this. And now what my life is dedicated to is providing for the provider so that way y'all can enjoy more life. Because I may not be able to adjust the 8 billion people in the world, but my voice has a way better shot at that. You may not take care of everybody in the world, but if you're in a good state, you're gonna show up for the people that walk into your brick and mortar or interact with you on social media or whatever it may be, you're gonna be in a better state. And if you're in a better state, that's gonna be more sustainable. If it's more sustainable, it's gonna lead to more life. Give me if you're with me. I love that. So first question, what's my state right now? Tony Robbins talks about this. State's everything. What is state? Emotional state. You can think about those three if you want. Am I stressed and in a fight or flight? Am I relaxed and a parasympathetic? Or am I really shut down right now? There's other nuances. If y'all need a resource or like an emotional wheel, I recommend nonviolent communication. Nonviolent communication. There's like a whole chart of needs and emotions because people can say, oh, what is it? I feel disrespected. That's not actually an emotional state. That's a perception. And your perception is now leading to probably anger, frustration, hatefulness, whatever it may be. But what I want, and I challenge my people and people in life, I talk different, but I find it to be more empowering. Because if you can name your emotional state, now we can do something to discover it, which is this next aspect. What do I need to shift, pause, or move? So what I'm giving y'all is my sexy acronym, Mrs. Clausia. She's a really nice lady. Bow. So I want y'all can take a picture, y'all can take notes, but also I invite you to just feel free to take a breath, close your eyes. Exhale. Have a pause in this moment just to be able to reset your day. Another breath in through the nose. Exhale longer than you inhaled. And as you're listening to my soothing voice, just kidding. I want y'all to listen to these needs and check in. Where do you feel a charge or where do you notice something shift or your eyebrows raise? Because when you can get these needs met, you have a higher probability to come back to a relaxed state of being. So, number 1, meaning. Number 2, recreation, sustenance, creativity, love, autonomy, understanding and empathy, sense of safety, sense of belonging, identity, authentic expression, and attachment. Take a moment just to reflect on which of those needs may or may not be getting met to a degree that then can be influencing your emotional state right now. You're more than welcome to pull out your phone, bust out your sexy journal, write that down, so that way you can then get this need met. Because the question after this is, what do I need to do to get this need met? And it can be, feel free to come back, y'all. It can be, thank you for playing. It can be through you, but the biggest aspect of my life that has helped get me to where I am right now, and like I could share so much with my life with you, but 45 minutes isn't enough. Just know it's really beautiful. And what makes it really beautiful is the people that I walk with. I got one of my best friends back there, Nick, who's responsible in helping me get here. So please give some love to her all throughout the weekend and right now. Yep. Got my roommate who's been walking with me the last few months, which has been great. Got Coach Taylor, which has been my boy the last several months, and he's my personal trainer as well too. But I have a lot of people that have been around me in my life. I got 2 OGs over there looking at me with these lovely curls. But for me, the quality of our lives is dictated by the quality of our questions and the quality of our relationships. The quality of our questions and the quality of our relationships. So the last question you can put down, did I live in alignment with my energy and values today? So I do consulting work for healthcare professionals and small businesses, and a part of the curriculum that I build out, a part of my whole coaching process, the first process is examining our values. Examining our values. Some of mine are gratitude, integrity, service, community, and love. These are also things that help ground me, because if I'm doing something or I'm getting lost and I have a need for, mine is recuperation that typically doesn't get met. Then that pulls from my presence for my people. One thing that I need to reflect upon is like, what do I need to do to come back this? Because these needs all behind me, it's not necessarily, it's a dichotomy, or it's like is my need for love getting met? Yes or no? It's to what degree is my need for love getting met? Y'all see that? So if these needs are getting met less often and less frequently, now that's going to lead to a chronic emotional state. Then now you have that boss who's just upset all the time and walking around like, bro, Jeff had a need for love since like 1999 that he hasn't gotten met. Someone hug that man, please. And that's a whole nother thing, as we've had some beautiful speakers already today that talk about and have spoken about when do these states or when do these strategies form to then advance through life. And I can keep talking on that, but I want to make sure y'all get this. This I'm stoked about. I was just speaking in Florida at a conference called Limitless. Shout out to Melly and shout out to Mandolin for putting on an amazing experience. And there was energy healers. There were Eileen McCusker that created biofield tuning. I got to share the stage with her and so many other different people. But in my process, my talk was understanding your nervous system, how to move from fear to empowerment. And what I found was when it comes to the stress pattern, typically there's the unknown. The unknown/stressor. And I'm gonna make sure I reference my notes so that way I don't miss anything because y'all that important. Aha. But typically, when it comes to the unknown, 3 things will typically happen. 1, it's unknown. So the brain's gonna now try to fill with stories and with the closest perception or familiar experience that it's had to now bridge it so it can feel safe. Because keep in mind, the brain's main job is to keep you safe. So unknown is like, on your brain's like, oh, I don't know how this is gonna go. Then it starts to go, vamp up. Now the cortisol is pumping through your body, everything X, Y, Z. Now you're in a defensive state to the unknown. Second thing can happen, it's familiar. And ideally it's familiar, you have a relationship with it, your neurology doesn't vamp into a space where it's stressed out or it's in that sympathetic fight or flight. One thing I want y'all to think about is, are you a flyer or are you a fighter? Ooh, I saw some smirks. Keep in mind, that's not for me, that's for you. The third thing that can happen, unknown. Your body doesn't go into a stress state, but actually stays in a parasympathetic state. You know who you are. You operate by principle. Even though it's something unknown, it's not something that's scary, but something that's exciting. Maybe it's a new job opportunity. Maybe it's an opportunity to speak in front of a bunch of lovely people. Maybe it's a new relationship. But when you can bring this awareness, ideally, to that third path or choice versus that first or second, I find that to be lovely. Because it's like, people get so addicted to their emotional states, they don't know anything but. Like I had a new practice member yesterday. I was like, what if you weren't chronically in an anxious state? I don't know. Well, all right, well, let's think about it. Because what if we could experience what that would hold or what that would bring forth for us before we're even there? Because keep in mind, you can shut your eyes and you can think about what would life be and rehearse it. It's rehearsal. So Dr. Joe Dispenza, anyone know him? I know his hands. Yeah, I know where I'm at. And Dr. Joe Dispenza uses meditation to rehearse positive emotions, feelings, and states to bring it back into the present moment, and the body then will heal through stage 4 metastasized cancer. That's a very simplified example and expression of what he does. But it's very, very powerful, and we can utilize that whenever. I was a D1 sprinter. I visualized me winning that gold medal and being on top of that podium my sophomore year. I saw it hundreds of times, every single rep, visualizing, listening to appropriate music that then elevated my state. That's why music and dance, these are all beautiful things, yeah? So, sorry, I got excited. Unknown stressor leads to emotional state. That emotional state can also be influenced by that unmet need. So, yes, there are arrows down, but because PowerPoints aren't my forte, I can't doodle on it, and bear with me. So that unmet need can then influence the emotional state. But peep game, when that unmet need has been happening for some time, typically when the brain doesn't know, it will go into a story. So it's like, I don't know, Coach Taylor say Coach showed up late, and my brain goes into, it's already in a sympathetic state, it's probably gonna see, man, that man showed up late again. He probably doesn't respect me. You know what? He probably doesn't like me. You know what? He's probably talking shit. Bring it back. You know what I mean? Because keep in mind, we're psycho-social creatures. Biologically, peep game. Psycho, that's just Latin for the mind. Some people are like, oh, maybe I am a psycho. But there's a mental and emotional component, that's the mind. But then we're social creatures as well too. And the social dynamic, I think, is something that people lost an art with in how to navigate because guess what? COVID. Because somehow health got, health got politicized. And over the last 100 years, health has definitely been bastardized. And by that, I mean, it's profitable. You think a country that's sick is gonna bring in more money or less money to certain pockets? I'm not even gonna explore that rabbit hole, but what I wanna just offer is that people are profiting off your sickness. You get to profit off your health. You get to profit off your sickness, or you get to profit for yourself for your health. Enjoy that, it's for you. Anyways, stories. It's important to deconstruct our stories. Why? Crucial Conversations, Superfire book. I love communication. It's my fave. Because our quality of relationships dictate the quality of our life, but every single relationship you have, there's a certain dynamic, there's a certain legacy, there's a certain neurology that's behind it as well too. A name pops up on your phone, even while you're in this talk, you're probably gonna smile or you're gonna frown. You know what I'm saying? Oh, this person again. But examine the stories because now we can directly influence our lives. So another important thing is the structure or the environment. You're a product of your top 5 people you're around. Same thing energetically, bank accounts, physical health. Why do you think I work out with a Sasquatch? Because I'll be stronger. Man can lunge 400 pounds. Wild. But you're a byproduct of that. So it's important to examine your environment because we've been talking epigenetics all day, which fires me up. But epigenetics, it's, yes, you have these genes that are the blueprint, but based upon the stressors that you incur on the day-to-day, that's what signals these genes on or off. I'm gonna take it a layer further. There's epigenetics, meaning based upon your perception of the stressors or stimuli that you're experiencing, this will now dictate your health. Does that make sense? Because you're not just like, oh no, I'm a plant that can't move and I'm stuck in this environment. No, you can shift your perspective. You can shift your lens. That's where gratitude is so important. That's where reflection is so important. That's where applying these lessons is so important. You're not a victim of your circumstances or your events and life. But instead you have the opportunity to then make that your story. Make that the ultimate comeback story. So that way you can do something about it versus just suffer just because your mom had breast cancer, that means I'm gonna get breast cancer. No. You can eat right, you can take care of your mind. You can, God, there's so many things that you can do. And I'm not saying I'm an oncologist. That's not my perspective, that's not my profession. But what I've found is that there are so many different factors and the mind is our biggest ace in the hole. It's our biggest tool. So that's why it's like, I can give you all these tools as a healthcare professional, but one of the main tools I want to gift and teach my people how to strengthen is the tool of their mind. Because, peep game, energy dictates structure, which then dictates function. What is function? Function is movement. Movement is life. But you can think of function as what is the probability that I'm bringing forth a life that I want versus a life that I don't want. And when you're in the right energy, now you can have the structure internally, biologically, and externally as your community to now increase the probability that you're gonna be more healthy, that you're gonna have more life, that you're gonna have more energy, that you're gonna be able to have better relationships, that you're gonna be able to get the job that you want. Because I gotta say this, I think it's ironic that we're on an entrepreneur journey and TenWest has done an amazing job, but I find it interesting that the wellness event is optional. And that's not a dig at them, I'm just reflecting, it's interesting. Because I come from an immigrant family. My mom's right from Peru. My dad's black from the southeast. Shout out to Easley. And when it comes to that, I've seen the struggle and my parents, they both come from poverty. My dad and my mom, they both sacrificed their minds and their bodies to help make sure that me and my sister, my sibling, we could have food on the table. And with this sacrifice, with this exchange, that's why I've studied these things, because even though I might not be a healthcare professional or I'm not a parent, I had a parent or I have parents, and mom used to work at the hospital, so it's like there's a direct appreciation. Because I showed you that slide with my, like, who am I? And I put my family up there. I am because they've put in and they've sacrificed all this work. So when I'm a chiropractor and I've been networking the last week, I've come out my cave because I'm entering my 5th week of practice. A lot of people are like, oh, you snapping, doc, can you snap and pop me? And I'm like, listen, first of all, y'all wild for thinking you can go to another grown man and talk to them like that. Secondly, I didn't dive in $300,000 in debt just to learn how to snap or crack or pop people like a Rice Krispie treat. And thirdly, there's a sacredness to life. So for me, it's like respect yourself. Respect yourself. Take responsibility for your life. These components are some of the aspects that I found to be crucial and important in order to be able to now master our lives. I want to allow plenty of time for Q&A. I wanted to make sure I got to this. I might have like 1 or 2 more slides, but I think that's it. So I'd love to open up the floor for questions. Yes.
Hi, my name is Amanda, serial entrepreneur.
Love it.
I have a question about the parasympathetic nervous system.
Yes.
Being an entrepreneur, usually we're living in that system for years.
Yep.
Time, decades. And for doesn't understand how to relax. You're stuck in the parasympathetic nervous system state.
Mhm.
Is there potential for it to recover back to the first state
Yep.
called, and how do you get there?
Yep. The answer is yes.
Okay.
I love that. I love the diversity of the audience, and there's other healthcare professionals, but there's concepts called bioplasticity and neuroplasticity. It's been mentioned multiple times today, which I love. And what that means is that your body and brain are continuously maladapting or adapting for a difference until the day we die. So to answer your question, yes. And on the other aspect, and going from maybe a stressed, a sympathetic, to now a parasympathetic. Parasympathetic is ideal. That's where we heal, that's where we rest. So it's like a part of it. It's learning how to shift gears. So you know how some people would say, meditate, turn your mind off. Well, if you turn your mind off, you'd be dead. So don't turn your mind off, please, not yet. However, shift gears. So the journey, and that's why I teach my people, it's like, yo, I'm not here to fix you or treat you. I'm here to walk with you in your path, and so that way you can learn how to better take care of yourself. And it's a learning process. So in the process of discovering the stress pattern, there's lessons, there's nuggets, there's things that you're gonna pick up that you actually need, that are working for you, that's your winning recipe. That you can then reflect to your boy and be able to discover what's working for you. So the path and the journey back, it is hard. And that's one thing I get. Like I present these all the time, and I've done workshops, keynoted at associations for nurses, other physicians as well too. And they're like, well, doc, that sounds all nice and dandy, but how am I supposed to do that? Well, bro, that's the difficulty of it. That's the excitement of it. That's your path. That's your journey. That's your medicine. That's what you get to figure out. So like encouraging people to be able to increase their emotional state so that way they can then change their lives. Yes, but I say choose your hard. For me, it's way harder to be chronically depressed, out of shape, anxious. You ever been anxious and depressed at the same time? It's a fun ride. I wouldn't recommend it. Wild. Like having poor relationships, having poor energetic hygiene, like waking up with thoughts that are destructive versus constructive, having friends that don't care about you. Like that's hard for me. I'd rather throw my soul out the other way so that way I can live a way that I want to. So to answer your question, I'm encouraging, like if you resonate with her question and you're having a tough time in changing, I'll just say something in your life. It might be your health, it might not be. Enjoy the hard and make sure that you're choosing it and consciously engaging with it versus just defaulting now to your pattern. Because keep in mind, this shows up when you're very stressed. I think our good doc over here that was just giving a great talk on how to apply oils and from an Ayurvedic practice, be able to change your life. You know, choose your hard. Because for me, you can either draw a line where it's like enough is enough, or things just keep happening. It's like, you know, I've had enough of that as well too. So you got to define your enough. Because otherwise than that, you're never going to have and be able to access an energetic state that's going to galvanize you to change your life. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Walking the Tiger, Peter?
Waking the Tiger. Yes, great book. Nice. Oh, enjoy your time. Great question. Was that a good question or what?
Yeah.
Let's get some other questions. I got maybe like 3, 4, 5. Yes.
I have a question, because it sounds like instead of being a hero and saving people, rescuing people, you're being a coach. Like you're not doing the work for them, but you are helping them up.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of having them be the victim, you want them to be the creator. You want them to
Mm-hmm.
create their
Mm-hmm.
future.
Mm-hmm.
So you're putting it on their table. But with past conditioning, oftentimes when people want me to be the hero, I automatically step in to be the hero. And also oftentimes people want me to meet them more than halfway. And I notice that I start to become a victim.
Mm-hmm.
That happens. And I want to be the creator. I noticed you mentioned boundaries, and that's really important. But how do you create those boundaries when you have somebody that's really wanting to push them and have you meet them more than halfway?
God, this is such a good question. All right, y'all got another 45 minutes? No, I'm just kidding. Great question. Can I ask what profession you're in?
Nurse practitioner.
Oh, I love it. So in short, when it comes to boundaries, it's important to, I find to be nonviolent communication and crucial conversations, two books that help me learn how to have these conversations, because you can talk in terms of needs, you can make requests, and you can observe your emotional states. So someone be like, hey Jane, like I know that you're making I'm noticing you're pushing XYZ, you're saying XYZ, I just want to share, I got to draw a boundary to that. As I'm here to walk with you, but I can't do this for you. And from a philosophical component, I just share, it's like, I'm not your healer, you are. But when another capacity, when it comes to boundaries, making requests, because then people now have the opportunity, they're either gonna fly past that boundary or they're gonna be able to honor it. And if they're consistently dishonoring your boundary, then that's something where you might need to drop them with care, or in a personal way, you might need to walk away from that relationship. So if I have a value for respect, for example, and people aren't respectful in how they're communicating, automatic, nah. Because now I'm gonna be in an emotional state that's gonna take me out of integrity. So it's all a matter of your integrity.
If I wanted to start reading on the nonviolent communication, who are like two main authors?
Nonviolent communication, the name of the book that's the name of the book. The author is Marshall Rosenberg. I love it. Community. Beautiful. You are so welcome. Quick side note. I want to hear more questions. If you guys would be so kind, I want to make this talk more potent. Feel free to boop this QR code. It'll take you like a minute or two to give me any feedback as well too, as I'm so grateful for TenWest. So I'm giving y'all like a YouTube video. That's a previous workshop for providing for the provider. That's my workshop. That's my baby. But you'll be able to, get connected to that. But I'd appreciate any feedback, as that's how I grow. I think I got another 5 minutes, so I'd love to keep the questions going.
What are other ways
Dylan.
that
Nice.
that you transform a victim mindset into an empowerment?
This is so good. I'd like to go back to the other slide, but I'll keep this here. The question was, how do you get out of a victim mindset into more empowerment? One thing that I find to be very important when it comes to, one, recognize. Am I in a disempowered state right now? And are there stories that are regulating my life? First, if you're able to just like step out of that, because keep in mind, if no one said this to you, you're not your emotions. You're not your emotions. You can experience them, but when it comes to this body, this biochemistry, you're not it. You're the observer of them. Some people, they get attached to it. So there's 2 points to Dylan's point. When it comes to this pattern of, say you're in a victim mindset, a potent question that's reflected me, what are you getting out of this? Because some people are addicted to being a victim. Some people are addicted to their low back pain, their anxiousness, their anxiety. I'm a small business owner, because they don't know who they are without that part of their identity that they've assimilated. So step number one, be able to appreciate and see where you at. Step number two, see if this is serving me, or examine that. What am I getting out of this? Because keep in mind, that too is a survival strategy. And it's not good, it's not bad. I don't like those words, because I find that that's disempowering, and there's shame and guilt and all these other emotions that can come with it. But instead, I like to say, is this in integrity or out of integrity? Is this feeding me or is this depleting me? Nice and simple. And I find that to be more sustainable, because now, all right, I'm out of integrity. Let me come back to that. So based upon your values, are you living in alignment with that or not? Does that answer your question? Yeah. It's an amazing question. And it can come in so many ways, like relationships, with your health. I'll just leave it at that. Let's keep the questions coming. Has this been valuable for y'all? Yeah. Sweet. You don't gotta just tell me there. You can tell me here too. Beautiful. What other questions we got? Big gal voice.
You said that our mind is a tool. You know that journaling is one way that we can exercise our mind.
Love it.
What are the benefits of journaling?
Yeah. Well, I even remember you saying, I just love what I feel like you just answered it. You're exercising your mind. You're getting a rep with thinking. So our mind is how we think, how we feel, and how we perceive the world. Pretty important. So when we can journal, we can now reflect upon, like I gave you that nice sexy diagram because it's really good. You can see and examine what parts of this are valid, so that way you're learning. So I say, I'm not your healer, you're your greatest healer. Same thing with teacher. I can't teach anything. You're your greatest teacher. And you got to assimilate that information. Anything that I've said today, you can assimilate it, let it go. But when you're able to reflect upon your life experience, that's very powerful. Dr. Caroline Leaf, cleaning up your mental mess. She is a pioneer in neuroplasticity and neuroscience. She's been in the game 30 years, knows a thing or two. Her process of journaling, it's 5 steps. I'll leave y'all to be able to explore it. But what I want to offer, it's that it's led to a reduction of 81% of burnout, depressive, and anxious symptoms over the course of about 2 months. And this was with heart scans, brain scans, and telomere scans. Telomeres are essentially your DNA. And depending upon if they're coiled or they're open, it's going to directly impact your life expectancy. So when it comes to what's the benefits of journaling, longer life, better cardiac health, better brain health, and overall, better energy.
I would say that it's a way to be expressed. Like you might not have people around you that you receive what you need to get out.
Yep.
I've been there, and like writing helped me to express because like with regulation and our emotions, a lot of times we're just keeping them in. But what we need to do is express and then ride that wave out.
Yep.
But a lot of people don't get the chance to express.
Yeah, they don't give themselves the opportunity because when you don't have community, we don't have XYZ, that's very important. So thank you for that point. Got 1, 2, and I think that might be it, but I'm not going to stop until they tell me to. So it's an ability to adapt.
Part of journaling too, it's about dumping it out of your head because now you're not carrying it anymore.
Ooh, that's one point. Yo, I'm so glad you said that. So with a lot of providers, I say they have these provider shoulders. What do you mean? I'm not stressed. Don't wear the weight. Don't wear the weight. Put it down, especially if it's not yours. Especially if it's not yours. Don't wear the weight. That was a big lesson that came up. Thank you so much for saying that.
So, fear and gratitude is in the same part of the brain, can't exist in the same space at the same time. If you're in a fear state, it's often hard to switch into more gratitude state. What tools do you use to do that?
To get into gratitude?
Yeah.
Oh, man. So I'm an introverted extrovert, meaning I love people and also I like to recluse and enjoy my time, which I've learned a lot more. But I love calling some of my best friends. I have a great roommate where we share a good meal. I got coach, so it's like I got my community quite literally here. Them, being able to grab a coffee with Charlie and bang out some work, but I find that gets me out of my own way. If you were to lock me in a door in a room by myself, that wouldn't be good for me. So learn from introvert to extrovert. In case you don't know, the best way I've heard it, if you're an introvert, you recuperate your energy by yourself, quieter. If you're an extrovert, your energy probably goes up around people. Does that make sense? There's one more thing. Last thing I'll give y'all, as I'm pretty sure my time is good. Go forth and serve. Oh, I forgot. Come find me. I got all these stickers. I got a podcast. It's called Soul Coffee. I'm going to have some guests that were here on Soul Coffee. I also got 5 pens to people that answered questions. So if you want a pen and you're a pen snob, come find me. And the last thing that I'll offer to y'all is this kind of quote that came through with resistance training, working out with Coach. It's that I was getting front squat, I was starting to fatigue, and he just looked at me, he's like, force goes down. It's like, force goes down. Yeah, duh, of course. What does that mean? Force is an AKA for energy. So what he was really saying was concentrate your energy where you want your force to, or where you want things to go, to then now do what you want to do. So that's why I'm like, if you're struggling right now with your health, with your life, focus and amplify your energy, and that's going to give you a surplus so that way you can now then influence your external and internal environments, and that's going to lead to you shifting your life. Y'all, it's been an honor and privilege. I am so honored. If I can connect, please, I'll happily answer questions. Thank you so much. I love it. I think that's everything. Oh, gracias. Beautiful.